welcome to Sarah's Stampin' Retreat. Today we're going to be creating an Eid Shaker card using this Moroccan screen stencil from Polka Doodles, the Eid Greetings Stamp Set from Altenew, and this older Sizzix die which is called Midnight Hare. But we're only going to be using the moon and the stars dies from this, so I think a lot of people have those kind of dies in their stash. So I'm going to start off with this piece of white cardstock, and that's 4 inches square. And I'm just going to use this yellow tape, which is the Spellbinders tape. I've forgotten what it's called, but I'll link it below because it's literally my new favourite tape. It's really good, really strong, but it doesn't stick too much, so you can use it for like die cutting and things like that. I've had no problems with it for die cutting, but because it's quite strong, it lasts for quite a lot of die cuts as well. It doesn't seem to break apart as much as some of the other ones that I use. So then I'm going to use the Picked Raspberry and Peacock Feathers Distress Inks. And I'm just going to go for a kind of quite a pale look. I'm not going to build up the colour too much. And somehow I always seem to do that. I think I've caught a bit on my nail or something and got that little smudge there, so I might have to try and cover that up with something later. So then I'm going to take this Eid Merbera stamp and I'm going to cut this apart. So please don't worry about cutting apart your stamps. You can cut it apart, and then if I want to use it like this again, all I need to do is line it up together and put it on the stamp block like that. But as it is, I want to use it in this way, so one's on top of the other, and it makes your stamps more flexible. So I'm actually going to stamp the Merbera first, and please excuse me if I'm not pronouncing that correctly. And then I'm going to stamp the Eid on the top. Then I'm going to glue this piece to this. So this is some Stampin' Up! Melon Mambo cardstock. And then I'm going to cut through both those pieces with my moon die. And while I'm die cutting, I'm also going to cut these stars from gold cardstock. So then I've got my gold stars, I've got this with the moon hole in it, and I've also got this really pretty moon that I can use on a different card as well. I think that's really nice with colours, and it might be nice for a baby card actually. So then I've got a piece of acetate that I've cut just a bit smaller than my square, so I'm going to tape that on. Because then I need to put some foam around here to keep my shaker bits in. But I want to use some of these which are quite high, so I need 2 layers of foam. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take this strip off here, and then I'm going to layer this strip on top of the other one. And then I'm going to pull the 2 off, and then I'm going to run that around the outside of my moon. And by running it round like this, you can make sure that the things that you put into your shaker stay in this part, so they're not kind of like rocking about all over the card. Then I'm going to do the same again with the next piece. And then I'm going to butt that right up to here because we don't want any gaps for our shaker elements to get out of. And then I'm butting that right up against there again and bringing it round. And then I'm putting that right next to there, and then I'm going to cut it right where that join is. And that way I can butt that bit up as well. So even though I've used 3 pieces of tape, you'll see there's no gaps in between them. Then I've got some more of these double strips, and I'm going to put those around the edges of my card, and this will just help the whole thing stand up nicely. And all of the shaker elements are going to go inside the moon, so I don't need to worry about butting these up against each other. So then I'm just going to line that up on my card and just kind of eyeball where this moon is. So it's around about here. So I want to put some shaker bits in here. So I've got some of these pieces of gold glitter. I've got some of these kind of gems. And all of these are kind of like older things that I've had in my stash for ages. But I'm sure that you've got kind of glitter and gems and sequins or whatever you like to fill your shaker cards with at home. I'm just trying to make sure that those gems are over the right way. And then another good tip is just to run your embossing buddy into that acetate to try and make it not static. And it just helps the bits that you're filling in your shaker with not to stick to the acetate so much. So then I'm just checking this out so that I know that my pieces are going to be in the right place when I put my shaker on. And then I can take the backing off, and then I'm going to position this on here. And I really push down around there to make sure there's a nice seal under that shaker. You can see that goes around nicely now. And then just to finish off, I'm going to put my stars on. So I'm going to position them before I glue them down. I'm going to have one of them cover this mistake down here. And I'm happy with that placement, so I can put them down. So then I'm going to use my Peacock pencil just to pick each one up, put a dot of glue on and pop it back down again. You do not need a lot of glue, you can just literally put a teeny tiny dot on and it will hold. Then there we go, there's my card finished. It has that nice shaker element to it. So I really hope that you've enjoyed today's card. If you did, and I appreciate you clicking like below, you can also press subscribe if you'd like to see future videos. If you press the bell button and select all, then YouTube will also notify you when I've got a new video available. The products that I've used for today's card are listed in the description below, and there's also a link there to my blog where you can find a picture supply list if that helps you find what you're looking for. Thank you so much for joining me today. I hope to see you again soon.